how to set up an appointment calendar. I'm recording today's session, but honestly, we already have a video tutorial on this. So my real goal for today was to be able to actually just walk you through this process. So like, hopefully at the end of today, if you want this, it's ready to go or to roll out. I did want to make a couple of quick announcements before we start, and I did want to give Cameron the opportunity to let you guys know some stuff about our self-reviews. We've had a lot of people asking about whether or not you could use these sessions to count for your professional development. Absolutely. Like, that's one of the reasons we do it. We want to make teaching as easy as possible for you, but absolutely count this as part of your Objective 2 training. Also, if you want a copy of the things that we're covering today, we had a couple of issues with people being able to find them in our last session. So I actually set this up in advance today. So if you want a copy of this, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm opening up a second screen. You just want to log into Blackboard. And if you click inside of the distance education resource class, then scroll over to our classroom, our professional development folder. And again, I'll email this out to you as well. This is just in case you want it while we're working through. Tips and tricks, and then click right here where it says appointment calendar. Sorry, I need to actually turn that off. That's where you'll find a copy of everything we're covering today. So here's the video tutorial already walking you through this process. Here's a copy of the handouts that I'm going to be sharing with you, just in case you want to download them or open them up on your own. Cameron, did you have any announcements you wanted to make before we started today?
Nope. I'll be sending out an email next week with self-review info, and then the newsletter next Thursday with all the end of the term info. So just be on the lookout for that, and everything will be covered there.
All right. So I wanted to start today by actually showing you what this calendar looks like. And in order to do that, give me 1 second. Wow, guys, I just spelled my own name wrong. Twice.
That's why you wear a badge, Ashley, so you can look at it and remember how to spell your name.
You know what, you're joking, but I actually spelled my name wrong on the SAT. So whenever students are like, oh my gosh, I feel so intimidated, I'm like, don't. I make all sorts of very common sense mistakes. So this is actually what a You Can Book Me calendar looks like. Right now, my calendar, based on my own personal preference, is set to display based on a single week. You can see it's blocked out Saturdays and Sundays. I'm not available at that time. And when you look on this calendar and you see, okay, Tuesday from 10 to 11:15, she's not available. What You Can Book Me is actually doing is pulling that from my Outlook calendar. So this is the calendar that I have set up with the college. I have a POC meeting on Tuesday from 10 to 11:30, and I don't want people to try and book me during that time period. I have personally chosen to set my calendar up in 15-minute increments. That time works really well for me. You know, you may be a person who sets it up in half-hour blocks. I know during the times that I was teaching, I would have students who wanted to stop by in the 10 minutes leading into class, which is just a really inconvenient time for me. I'm like, I've got to open up PowerPoints and videos and hightail it across campus. So I set this up in 15-minute blocks specifically to block people from booking me in the 10 minutes leading into class. But you have a lot of control over that, and students can actually navigate through as far in advance as you will allow. I allow people to book up to 1 year in advance with me. Anything past that, I'm not going to remember. And then you have the option to put this verbiage here. So I think this has a lot of like tremendous potential, right? Maybe a student missed a proctored event and they need to make an appointment with you to come by and see that proctored or complete that proctored event assignment. This is your tool to do that at a very specific time. If a student were to click on any of these blocks, what they're going to actually land on is a booking page where I get their first and last name. their email address. I made that a requirement. It wasn't something that You Can Book Me did. I also want to know why you're stopping by. Are you coming by to talk to me about your grades? Are you trying to make up an assignment? And I want to know how you want to touch bases. Now, I put this option in because of the pandemic. Like, we can't gather in large groups. Maybe one person needs to stop by my office to check out a piece of equipment. They have that option. If you'd rather give me a call, I need the number to call you at so I don't have to fight with Banner. So what I hope by the end of today's session you'll have is this. Now, I think the natural question before we delve into this is like, well, if I create this, where can I stick it? How can I use it? You really have three very easy, obvious options. There are definitely more places that you can do this. So when I was teaching, the first place I stuck this was in my Blackboard on the left side of my class. It was always there. So you got to use that table of contents menu or that left side menu to navigate to the classroom. I had that right there. So you could always go, oh, well, let me just book an appointment. I also took the time to stick in high risk places in my class. So if students had practice quizzes and they were failing the practice quiz, here's a link. Just go ahead and book an appointment and stop by so we can figure out what it is you don't understand before you take the test. And I've always kept it in my email signature. Now, there are a lot of tools that can do this, right? Our Office 365 package that's given to us by IT has a booking page built into it. One of the reasons that I advocate so strongly for using You Can Book Me is because it doesn't deal with a lot of the IT, I'm going to use the word struggles or challenges. And so I end up emailing a lot of external stakeholders. And if somebody needs to book me outside of campus who doesn't have like a smart web email, I just to be able to click and book the appointment. I don't want them to have to log into their smart web account and put in their passcode 3 times or get a call to get the code. So just kind of be mindful that that's one of the advantages of using this particular booking tool, and that's one of the ways that you can put it there. I am going to show you how to set up this area in your table of contents if you'd like. My assumption is if you've made it through BB Essentials, you know how to build a link in Blackboard. If you want to go back in and meet with me one-on-one, I'll show you how to book an appointment with me and we can do that. And then this email signature line it's different for everyone. It depends on how you access your email and whether you're using web-based or desktop Outlook. So again, that's one of those things where we might have to have a one-on-one session to set it up, but it is relatively simple. And I actually have it set up differently between the two. So if I'm emailing someone from the internet or using the web-based Outlook, the last line of my email signature is just, if you want to book an appointment with me, do this. And what you're seeing right now is actually the desktop version because I tend to send emails only to external stakeholders from there. All right, so let's get started with how this looks. In order to do this, the first thing that you would want to do is go to the website youcanbook.me. Now, when you go to youcanbook.me, the sign up option is in this upper right-hand corner. And when you sign up, You Can Book Me suggests that you sign up with a Google email address. That would make sense if you were like an external business or if you use a Gmail-based application for your class. I recommend that you sign up with Microsoft. The reason that I'm suggesting that, and again, this is because you may want to manage your calendar differently, is in order to integrate your calendar with your work email calendar, you have to sign up with Microsoft. And what it's going to do when you do that is it's going to prompt you to log in, and you're just going to log in using your school issued credentials, your full school email. I obviously can't sign up again because I already have a You Can Book Me account, but it's going to take you through that basic 6-step process of put in your email address, put in your school password, put in the authenticator code. Now, before you do that, there are some things that you need to take into consideration. When you integrate with this Outlook calendar, you need to be mindful of if or how you manage your calendar, right? So I am pretty good about putting what I need to do on my calendar. So like, I'm very aware that our Rick Perkins has judging coming up and I'm gonna go in and book something for judging. But you'll notice that with judging, I've got a little white block here. And with a lot of these appointments, I have a blue block. What you want to be mindful of is that you're actually maintaining this Outlook calendar. If you don't maintain it, you might not want to integrate it, because what will happen is people will be able to book any time that you've set an availability. So if I don't want people to book during this judging thing, I have to make sure that I am setting that judging option as busy. That's time that I'm not going to be able to keep appointments. And I'm not actually going to do that because I'm open to appointments on Thursday, but it's just something to be mindful of. I'm going to backtrack an entire calendar year, because I haven't been teaching for the past year, but I do want you to see what this calendar looked like for me when I was teaching. So here's my calendar when I was teaching. And what looks like a whole lot of stuff that I have to do is actually just my classes. I had a Monday, Wednesday, Friday English 1101 that met from 11 to 12:15. So I put that on my calendar. I had a Tuesday, Thursday 12:30 to 1:40, or a Monday, Wednesday 12:30 to 1:45. So that's what you're seeing. There is absolutely no way I would ever suggest to you using a tool that requires you to put each individual class session in. So I put each of these sessions in one time, and I set up a recurrence that blocked it out and automatically filled it in for the rest of the time. I will be showing you how to do that today, but don't look at this and go, oh my gosh, that looks like it's really time consuming. And what you can see in some areas are places where people booked appointments with me in between. So for example, on this day, I had a dental appointment, got to take better care of my teeth. I had an 11 o'clock class, a 12:30 class, a 2 o'clock class. I had a student who booked me for an appointment at 5:45, and then I had a 6 p.m. English class. And just from recollection, this was a student who was in that 6 o'clock English class. So it let me know, hey, she's coming to see me. When people book appointments for you, this is what it looks like. You automatically get a notification on your calendar. So it automatically goes there. You're not having to add that information in. When you get the initial booking, you will receive an email. If there's ever a reason that you need to cancel the appointment, you click the button in the email, it sends a cancellation to the student, it cancels the appointment out on your actual calendar. But what I know is that this was a student who was stopping by my office, and she was reaching out because she needed help understanding how she received a grade on an assignment. All right, so if you want to follow along and do this, click that sign up option, go ahead and sign into your school email address, and I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. So it's 11:45. I'll give you till 11:50 to do that if you are choosing to do this as we're going through. And while you're doing that, I'm going to close about 50 screens.
Ashley, what was the name of that website again?
It's youcanbook.me.
Oh, okay. I put in youcanbookme.com.
I did that the first couple of times that I did it too. I was like, this is so weird that websites can end in like things other than .com, .org, or .edu. Back in my day. Nope. One of my collaborate screens. All right, so you've got about 3 minutes left if you're still trying to get your login set up.
So Ashley, I'm at a page that says, "Hey Gene, nice work. Your account is all set up, ready to create your first booking page." That's where I'm supposed to be.
That's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Awesome.
While we're finishing it up, I also wanted to mention, if you haven't ever had a one-on-one conversation with me about education technology, I am a proponent of all things free. I will very rarely recommend an education technology that requires you to purchase a license. And, if you do, it's always going to be something that, we try and help support. So this is free. And Jean, that page that's saying you're ready to set up your first booking page, you can actually have multiple booking pages if you'd like, but that's a feature that's available if you upgrade your account. So if you just want one booking page, which I only want one for my school email address, then I'm using the free option. I actually learned about this tool from a textbook publisher who is using it, a publisher rep who was using it to book appointments instead of just stopping by. And once I saw it, I was like, well, I'm stealing this. It seems like a really great idea to use in my classrooms. And I used it for about 3.5 years before I transitioned into this new role, which it always worked out really well for me. All right, so your page should look very similar to the page that you see on my screen now. You will not have this. This is my booking page. And so what happens when you set up a You Can Book Me page is you have the option of creating your own unique email link, or excuse me, your own unique link. I just used my my full name. My name is so unique, I know no one else is using that. But if you wanted to change that, you could. So if you wanted to make it like farmtech.youcanbook.me, you could actually go in and edit those settings. If you're at the screen that looks similar to this, you want to take the opportunity to click create a new booking page, and it's going to route you to the page that this edit settings is on. If you already have a booking page and maybe you just need to edit it to figure out how to make it work for Blackboard and your school email address, you can also just click the edit page option. And it should take you to a screen that looks like this. So one of the great things about You Can Book Me, in my opinion, is that it automatically is going to show you live updates over here on the right side of the page, so you can see exactly what people are going to see. So I'm going to go over kind of these general
Ashley,
settings. Huh?
I'm sorry. Mine is just that one whole page, and all it's got is just "Hey" and "Nice work." So, do I start creating my first? I'm sorry, I didn't. I got it.
It's fine. So you're on this dashboard page?
Well, mine didn't look like that, but I hit create a new booking page,
Right.
and now it says Burke-4 You Can Book Me.
So
And do I still need to create booking page, I guess?
That's what you're doing when it's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So now I can hit create a new booking page.
Right. So when you set up the booking page, what you're getting is the series of options about how it displays, but also about how people interact with your page. And that might be why it's giving you the middle step before you set it up. But and if I'm going too fast for you and you weren't here when we first started, we've got a pre-recorded video tutorial on this already available to you in Blackboard. So you can always come here and check this out. And this lets you pause it and go through it step by step. I'm definitely happy to work with anybody one-on-one in case we accidentally lose somebody. I can stay after this session, or you can book an appointment with me through my email link. But yeah, there's it may be different based on your operating system as well. They also have these tutorials over here, which this is just a longer version of what we're showing you today. But you can skip anything in the middle that's giving you the prompt to go through, hey, you're eligible, to just get to the create a new booking page option. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit my settings. So a couple of things that you want to keep in mind as you are setting up your settings. Selecting the appropriate date and time system is really important. So if you have accidentally set up the wrong time zone, what will happen is that people will book an appointment with you at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I accidentally had that issue. I'm not sure why I thought that I lived in mountain time in Augusta, Georgia, but the first time I set this up, the very first appointment I had a student book with me was at like 5:45 in the morning, and that was just not an option. I love my job. I'm not coming in before security to meet with a student about why they got a C on an essay. When you're setting up your times, the setting your work hours is important if you are a person who teaches evening classes. So when I showed you the example on my booking form, you saw that that student could book an appointment with me at 5:45. The reason the student could do that is because during that particular semester, I think I came in at like 9:30 and I worked until 7 p.m. And so when you're setting the working hours, that controls the ability to book on your calendar. And you also have the ability to set the days that you want people to be able to book. So I'm not available on Saturdays and Sundays. In order to set these options, you want to click times and availability, go with that first availability option. If you would like to add in breaks, so for example, maybe you're not eligible or excuse me, you're not available during your lunch breaks, you can add that in. I'm pretty flexible about my lunch breaks, so I've never taken the time to go, you can't book me from 11 to 11:30. In order to change those settings, you're going to click edit. You enter in the times that you would like to be available. I unchecked Saturday and Sunday. That's how you make those days unavailable. And then you just click the done option. Now I know I went through that very quickly and you may need a little bit of time to go and double check your schedule. And so I'm going to stay here for another second. The custom availability option requires that upgrade. What I've learned that the custom availability option works really well for is if you have a department that's using a calendar. So maybe one person in the department is available from 8 to 5, and then someone else is available from 9 to 6, and someone else is available from 10 to 7. That's really the time that I could see when you would want to do that, or if you need to change your availability frequently. For the most part, my schedule stays the same throughout the entire 17 weeks of a semester, and it may shift from semester to semester, but it doesn't shift from week to week. You can update this as many times as you want. So if all of a sudden, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be working 7:30 to 4, I can easily change that here. But if I was going to be available from 8 to 4:30 this week, from 7 to 4 next week, from 8 to 4:30 the week after that, that's when you'd want to explore that custom availability option. The duration is how you set the amount of time you'd like your appointments to be. So if you want to work within 15-minute increments, this is how you have the option to do so. Again, you can change this as much as you want. One of the things I will say that is really important is being aware of this minimum booking notice. And if you're asking how I got to that screen, it's the second dot under times and availability. I have found that a lot of the times students want to book a session with me like in the 5 minutes before something's available. So, maybe I found out that I have to meet with my dean at 9:30 and a student goes in after my 8 o'clock class and wants to book an appointment with me for, 9:15. I don't want that to happen because that's not an appointment I can make. So you have to make a really clear determination about the amount of lead time you want. For me, an hour wasn't enough because I would teach in huge blocks. So I'd have classes at 8, 9, and 10. So if you booked an appointment with me at 9, or excuse me, at 8 while I was in class, I wouldn't know that you'd booked the appointment until almost 11 o'clock. So think about how much time you want and what day you want your display to start on. So you can see here that my calendar starts on Friday and I let people book a week out. If you want to always start on a standard Monday or something like that, you can go in and change those. The appointment.
No, Ashley, it said maximum weeks 104.
Mm-hmm.
What is that now?
That lets people book out up to 2 weeks or 2 years in advance with me. I used to have it set to 52. Apparently I went in and changed it. I didn't realize I was letting people book appointments with me 2 years in advance. So actually, while we're here, I am going to change that because I won't remember things that far in advance. I thought when I set up this calendar, surely no one was going to book an appointment that far in advance. The farthest in advance I've ever had a student book an appointment with me was actually 3 months. And those were students who took an English 1101 class with me, turned around and signed up for humanities. And because they had used the booking calendar frequently to like come in and get feedback, they booked one weekly sessions with me just to sit down and talk about their grades. So every Friday, a student had an appointment with me to just check in, which, you know, that was a student who had been at risk before, but ended up passing both of those classes. So I was like, you know, this is one of the times it really worked out for me. The appointment types is not really a place where you get a lot of functionality. In the trial period, it will give you the ability to like try and virtually integrate tools in. I would not recommend that, especially since you have access to Collaborate, you have access to WebEx, and you may be potentially discussing sensitive information with the student like grades. It changes. So in the years that I've been using You Can Book Me, what it shows you under that screen is it just varies, and it always requires an upgrade. So I'm not going to delve into it. And then there's your time zone. I would strongly recommend that you just check this box and automatically pull the time zone from your school calendar. And that way it'll stay synced, because when daylight savings happens, that saves you a lot of trouble. If you don't connect that, you're gonna have to manually go in and update this when daylight savings time occurs. So the second most important thing that you want to work on or think about is this booking form. It's the next option on that gray menu. This gives you the ability to ask questions. I find it super important to know students' names and email addresses. It takes me a long time to learn my students' names. Unfortunately, I used to have about 110 students every semester. So getting their names, getting their email address was important to me. Because of the pandemic, I really needed to know, how are you meeting with me? Do you want me to call you? Are we going to go into a virtual meeting? Are you trying to stop by my office? That was a question I put in on my own. And then I added, because I found it useful, what are we talking about? Because one of the things that happened because students could book this was the opposite of what I just described, where people would book appointments with me just to come hang out. And I get that I'm totally the coolest professor you've ever had, and you just are so obsessed with me, you just want to hang out with me, but I have a lot of work to do, guys. Like, I can't just sit and talk with you. So having this, what are you reaching out for, let me know that, one, people are not trying to book social appointments to stop by my office, and two, for me, it was really important because I get very anxious reading in front of people. And so if a student was like, hey, I want to talk to you about my grades, this let me know, hey, I'm coming to talk to you about my chapter 2 test score, so I could look up and read through the feedback I gave you before you showed up at my office. And so I was ready to discuss with you instead of having to review that information. I do have some like external stakeholders who are like, what is this? And a lot of the times they're just like, I'm just reaching out to meet, but that was really something for my students. This after booking page is what message that they're going to get. You can customize this. It requires you to have a little bit of coding knowledge, so I would not recommend adding anything to it, but you know, students have the option to add this to their Google calendars. Using Office 365 adds it to their school calendar. This is if they want to download it and import it. Also be mindful about changing that after booking page, because it may potentially change your ability to cancel appointments, which is actually what that notification screen is for. Is this gives you the ability to branch out. So when a new booking is made, I get an email alert and it automatically blocks that timeout on my calendar. If the student reschedules, I get an email that's sent to me and an email that's sent to the student. If something is canceled, it automatically sends an email to the student. It doesn't cancel it on the student's calendar. It does cancel it on mine. So this is something where you really want to play around with it, but be very mindful that the booking forms and the notifications are connected. Style and appearance is really self-explanatory. Change this to however you want it to look. If you would like to add this message that you see at the top of the calendar, I actually added that from, I believe it's the general settings, that allows you to put, hey, here's what I want it to say, here's the link that I'd like. And the calendar in Teams doesn't require you to do anything if you signed up the way that I suggested. If you don't, if like you need to import a calendar, that's when you go in and add another calendar. The reason that you're seeing two calendars for me is I did this prior to that integration being an option. So now that we've sort of covered this, let's talk about the management of your Outlook calendar, because that's sort of the balancing component here, right? If you're going to use this You Can Book Me page, be mindful that you want to manage that Outlook calendar. I have already posted these documents. They're already available for you in, excuse me, one second. I've already posted these documents. They're already available right here. But I want to show you how I did this with my calendar, how I got my calendar to automatically block out all of those times. In order to do this for the entire semester, I had to put in 6 different things and basically it was one thing for each class, and then it blocked out everything for everybody. So what you do in order to do that, if you're using the desktop version, is when you create, excuse me, when you create your meetings, what you want to do is make sure that they're marked as busy and check the reoccurrence option. So what I typically do is, like, let's say I have English 1101 class. I'm going to make up a CRN. So if this is one of your CRNs, don't freak out. I put that in just because that helps me during the beginning of the semester when I'm doing like no-show reporting or trying to do records. So let's say that class meets on Tuesdays and the class is at 2 o'clock. So you just see I'm just putting in this one thing. And if I do that, it's just going to block out one block of time on the January 14th at 2:20. What I typically do is I hit this reoccurrence option. I say, all right, definitely do it on Tuesday. That class also meets on Thursdays. And I'm bad at math, so I'm not going to sit here and go in this after, 330 reoccurrences. What I usually do is I enter in the first and the last day of the semester. So I happen to know for myself that this semester started on January 11th. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in for January 11th of 2021, and we end next 2 weeks from now, right? When's the last day of the semester, guys? I think it's
the. Do you want the last day or when grades are due?
I'm going to go with the 7th just for the example.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the 3rd, but you have finals. So I like to put mine on the 6th, which is the last day they can see me in class.
All right, so let's go with the 6th then. All right, and then I just hit OK. Now, yes, I want to save those changes. Now let's jump forward to my calendar for this year instead of going back. So what you'll see is it automatically added that in, right? Here's that Tuesday, here it is on Thursday. Here it is on Tuesday, here it is on Thursday. And so I just did that for each of my classes. I did that 6 times. I did it for my Monday, Wednesday class that met Monday, Wednesday. I did it for the class that met Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that puts the reoccurrence in for the entire semester, and it automatically blocks that time out. So now if I go back to my booking page, what we're gonna see is that on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 until 3, that time is blocked out. No one can book me. And that's helpful because now students aren't trying to book an appointment with you during a time when you're already in class. If you have reoccurring meetings, that's really the way to go to save you some heartbreak. That's what it looks like if you're using the desktop version of Outlook. I've created a separate handout for you that shows you how to set up that reoccurrence if you're using the web-based version, because it looks slightly different. So you have to click on the calendar option in the bottom right. Then you hit new event, very similar to new appointment. That opens up this screen. You fill in the information, and then the reoccurrence button is, you hit repeat, and then you select custom in order to get the options to put in Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. But my suggestion to you with this is really to use the options that ask you to put in the start and end dates of the semester rather than the number of reoccurrences. Because when you do it based on the number of reoccurrences, things like Labor Day holidays can really affect the ability for the calendar to block that stuff out. But that's how you kind of block that. Now, the reality is you can add that information in, but you still have appointments that pop up. And that's why that cancellation option is so convenient, because you get the email, you cancel the appointment, and the person automatically gets the notification. And I usually try and follow that up afterwards with, hey, I'm so sorry I had to cancel our appointment. Something came up. Are you available during this time? Or please let me know what time is convenient to you. I'll make myself available. Did I have a question? I saw.
Yes,
Keisha,
I was following along with you. Can you go back to show me how to do the reoccurrence of the time instead of doing, I did, like you said, the weeks, but I rather do, like you said, the reoccurrence.
So when you click your new appointment option, sometimes it says new meeting. Reoccurrence is in the
Okay.
middle section. And then
Thanks.
what I did, if you enter this information in first, it'll automatically populate here. But if not, you just fill this out and use the start and the end dates rather than the number of occurrences.
Okay.
And that also depends. And the other reason I suggest this is, you know, people are back and forth about finals. Final exam periods are 2 hours long, right? Or I think they're an hour and 15 minutes. So if you just don't want students to be able to meet with you during final exams, or you want to be completely open during that time, just adjust the week for final exams.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So the final thing that I wanted to cover with you is, how do you add this in? Like, how do you actually stick it in Blackboard in ways that are convenient? So, you know, you can add it into your email signature. To be 100% honest with you guys, I don't want to delve too deeply into how to add it to your email signature, because I'm about to send you guys out a separate email about your email signatures related to the planning of our college's 60th anniversary. But if you click new email, you have the signature option. You click signature and you can edit any way you want. And I literally just typed this in and pasted the link in to add it into my email signature. So you have the option to do it there. Just be very mindful that, you know, if you use an email signature, that's going out to everybody. So you may have people booking appointments with you that aren't necessarily students. You also want to be mindful that you may have to reference people to it, because we have so many things in our email signature that it's very easy to miss that. If you want to add this to Blackboard, let's say you want it on this left menu over here. This thing is called the table of contents. I call it the pop-out bar. Sometimes we reference it as the left side menu. The way to do that is to click this plus symbol in the upper left-hand corner and then tell it you want to add a web link. If you add a web link, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically take them or redirect them to the page. Actually, let me jump into my sandbox so I don't mess anything up in our distance education resource class. You have two ways to do this. When you click on my link, I do as much as I can to keep people in Blackboard. So I just put it here. If you want to embed it like this, you just want people to immediately click it, see your calendar. Then what you do is you click plus, you select the blank page option. You name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it my calendar. And that's to differentiate it from the other one. So now that I'm on my calendar tab, you can come back to your booking page. It gives you the share and embed option. You select embed. And again, this is all covered in that video. So if you're like, whoa, you're going fast, I can just copy the embed code and paste it back over here. When you paste it over here, you got to click HTML first. Put it in that pop-up window. So when you do that, you get this thing that looks like a mumbo jumbo. To see if you did it right, just turn your edit mode off. So you can see on my calendar page, it put my calendar there. Your other option is to just send them to the link. And if you want to send them to the link, you just click the web link option. I'm going to call this calendar 2 just to differentiate. And because I have already spelled my name incorrectly in front of you guys twice, I'm just going to copy this. Be on the safe side. So the difference between doing it that way is when you click on the calendar link to, oh, actually it did integrate it. It used to send them to an external link. So I guess there's no real difference. Whichever one is easier for you, go for it. But that's how they're going to see it in Blackboard. So I've added it to that table of contents menu. The convenience of adding it to this menu is that menu is pretty much always there. If you want to add it to any classroom area, just click on your classroom, hit build content, and add the web link. So I'm going to paste it in. And normally when I stick it in my classroom, I leave my students some type of note. If you struggled with this, stop by for a study session. So I will drag and drop that wherever it needs to go. So maybe it's over the test and they're just getting the reminder. And again, it's going to take them directly to this simple interactive page. They book the appointment, they get a reminder, I get a reminder, and we're all set. I cannot in any scientific way quantify this, but I will tell you that one of my biggest frustrations before using this booking page was students would say to me, all right, Dr. Strongrain, I'm going to stop by your office on Tuesday. And then Tuesday would roll around and I would skip my lunch and I would be in that office waiting for them and the student wouldn't show up. And when I saw the student, they go, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. And I understand that students are dealing with a lot of issues, but that would be so frustrating for me because I'm like, I've missed lunch, I'm angry and I'm hungry and you didn't show up and you're failing us and I want you to pass. Once I started using this, that significantly decreased. And I think a large part of that was the students got the automatic reminders. And even if they didn't show up for an appointment, one of the things I did see an improvement in was the courtesy of a call. I would have a student say, I'm sorry, I forgot we had an appointment today. I can't make it. Can I reschedule it with you? Because they got an email notification reminding them that they had that appointment. So that is one of the convenient things that happens as a consequence of using this. That takes us right up to kind of the 1 hour mark. I don't want to hold you hostage on such a beautiful Friday. So I'm going to stop for now, ask if there are any questions or anything you need me to go back over.
No, not at this time.
Ashley,
So what I'm also
somehow,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, somehow on my booking pages, I now have 2 you can book me's on the dashboard.
On your
Yeah.
dashboard. So over
Yeah, it automatically created a second one that's offline. Online.
over here or in your actual You Can Book Me account?
In your actual You Can Book Me account.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have one that's online, that's burke-ford.youcanbookme, and then one that's offline, larryburke.youcanbookme.
Yes. I did. Mine's happened the same way too.
So how about we do this just in the interest of making sure that I can help both of you one-on-one. What I'm going to do is go ahead and end our session for today. Guys, we always appreciate feedback from these sessions. So I'm going to email you guys a link to fill out our feedback survey, or excuse me, I'm going to post it in the chat and I'll also email it with you. And what I'm going to do is stay for the next 45 minutes. So if anybody has, hey, I need one-on-one help. And so Larry and Keisha, I'll work with both, or excuse me, Jean and Keisha, I'll work with both of you one-on-one in that time to make sure we get everything set up for you. Does that work for everybody?
It's great for me.
All right, so
I remember what you said. I was going to use it, so I didn't need to stay on.
I'm sorry, I heard 3 different people.
Go ahead. I wasn't going to use the second one because I think you said that it was not part of the free trial. Plus, I didn't need it, so I didn't need to stay on. I was just making you Jean, that it automatically created a second booking landing page.
So the other thing I would suggest, just to be on the safe side, if that's what happened, is over here, just click that button to turn it off.
Yeah.
That'll make sure that it never connects your 2 calendars. And at one point I did connect my Gmail calendar to this, and it created a different booking page instead of integrating the calendars. And I had like people booking appointments with me on like my personal calendar, and so to stop that, I just turned it off. So if it's pulling into, that might be your safer bet.
Okay.
But, I mean, that was years ago. Thank you for making me aware of it too, because I can go back in and add that into the directions.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please take the time to fill out our feedback survey. Don't forget to be on the lookout for Cameron's emails about your self-reviews, and have a super awesome Friday. If you want more one-on-one help, I'm going to be here hanging out, but I am going to go ahead and stop the recording for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley, and I'm going to stay on.
I don't know if I want to help you in your super comfy scrubs while I sit in my office.
Hey.
So what I'm actually going to do so that I can make sure that I'm helping you is I'm going to switch your role in this session to a moderator so you can share your screen.
Okay.
You're large and in charge. Do you go by Larry or by Gene?
Gene.
Okay,
I'm
I
a
was like, I
junior.
used to have both. Gotcha.
I'm a junior, so I go by my middle name. All right. So to share my screen, you're going to have to help me because I'm not very.
In the bottom right-hand corner, like underneath the chat area, so there's the chat, there's the two little people icon, and there's an arrow pointing to the right. You want to click that arrow.
Okay.
And then the second option says share application screen.
There you go.
And then you just pick the screen you want me to see.
I guess. Well, it won't let me hit share at the bottom.
Let's see. I thought it might have been because.
Okay, maybe this is what I need to do. Hold on just a second. Go. Oh, no, I'll have to share application. Okay. There. Now.
There we go. That worked.
All right. So you see how I've got this one, and it's offline, but I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have this link than this one. But
okay. So just to be on the safe, is it that you just want the link to change, or?
No, I was trying to follow along, but because I have it set up in two different windows, look at yours and then come back here, and so I'm not really for sure how.
Okay.
I've done or anything.
So the safe thing to do is, like, let's first see which one of these actually integrated with your school email account. Go ahead and click edit on the one that's offline. And then over on the left-hand side, click where it says calendar and teams. Yeah, so that's the one that's connected to your school email address.
All right.
So you could turn this one off. Oh, did it double connect yours?
Yes.
So my suggestion to you would be to turn this calendar, the one that you're on right now, off.
Okay.
That way no one can ever book on that calendar, and to just turn that one on.
Okay.
You can actually, if you wanted to, you could go in and delete the other calendar. There's no harm in doing that, especially if you don't intend on using it, by just clicking that downward arrow and then hitting delete. Yeah, that's going to completely break the link between that and your other calendar too. So you actually have to type it in all caps locks too.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a frustrating thing for me. I was like, why is this not working? I know I spelled delete right.
Okay.
So yeah, now you just have the one calendar.
All right. And then I can go in and, like, times and availability.
Yep.
Set that up.
What are you doing on Wednesday at 9 o'clock? I see you already got something booked out. So and the reason I'm making that joke is that's how you know it's connecting to your calendar, is you've got something on your work calendar on Wednesday from 9 to 10, and it's blocking it out for that.
Right. So. Oh, my wife. That's just a reminder that my wife has an appointment.
So because you have that time marked as busy, so you see how you have that dark bar on the left side of that appointment? That means that that's scheduled as busy. So if you change that to free, it'll let people book an appointment with you at that time. But if
Okay.
you leave it as busy, it just automatically blocks it out. So I usually do that for things like holidays. I'll just mark the entire day as busy for the holiday so no one tries to book an appointment with me on like MLK or something.
All right. My next, yes. So my next question is like, I have my personal calendar right here,
Hmm.
just so that, sometimes I have stuff on it that's not over here. Um, I guess I am noticing a lot of it. It's pretty much so.
So if you integrate your personal calendar into Outlook, You Can Book Me will automatically integrate those times in, and it won't ever see your personal calendar. It's just
Right.
it's going to automatically mark anything on your personal calendar out as busy. And if it's
So
something
like,
that falls within the like your scheduling time, it'll affect the ability to book. But if it's outside your scheduling time, so like if you have something on your personal calendar on like a Saturday, it's not going to affect that at all.
okay. So if I just uncheck that, I don't have to see my personal calendar, but I still see that I've got everything on there. I just need to go in and make sure that things are not busy where I could be free.
Right.
All right. I'll get it. I'll get it. Um, Now, like with duration, um, I was going to kind of do like 30 minutes because usually I can't get anything done in 15 with my students. So I do 30 minutes. And when it says add a padding, I was going to try and do 15, but do I just click 30 and then try and change it or?
So there's an easier workaround because what's going to happen after your trial period is that feature is going to go away. If
Oh,
you go
okay.
back to your work calendar,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually set you can either set your appointments with a 15-minute lead time, and that'll give you the padding, or if you set in the reminders, that might do it. But
Okay.
that padding feature is just gonna it'll put in the padding before the events, but it doesn't last.
Oh, so if it says free trial,
Yeah,
that's
that's
going
gonna go
away.
away.
Okay.
Anything that's got that yellow bar next to it's gonna go away.
Okay. You said don't change anything on there, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. That all goes away too.
And then,
And then the only other thing you might want to change is your booking form if you want them to
right.
fill out anything to you before you see them.
Well, I liked what you did. So if I add a question, do I do short answer or
That's what I
multiple
did
choice?
to be able to ask them, what are you stopping by for? And then to ask them, are you calling? Are we video conferencing, or are you physically stopping by? I just made that a multiple choice question.
Now, and
So
then,
it automatically saves the changes for you. So
okay. So
yeah,
add the
I
next.
see it over there on the right side under your email.
Oh, okay. And then, so add, don't. So
Did you want
now
to
I'm
add in
gonna,
a second question?
yeah, I was gonna, what you said,
You have
why
to
are we
scroll back up
meeting?
at the top to add another question in.
Oh, that's what I wasn't doing, scrolling back up.
So
So,
so after you go ahead and label that as multiple choice again.
oh, okay.
Okay, never mind. It added it in for you.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
hold on
over
one
here.
second for me. Leave that as multiple choice. Now click where it says back to booking questions. That's how you add
Oh,
the second question in. Yeah.
okay. And so this is going to be a long answer. Or what?
I'm so glad you mentioned this because I definitely need to go back in and change some settings on mine. Your booking form's going to look better than mine because I didn't realize you could remove the word option. So I just left
Oh.
option 1 and option 2 in there.
Oh.
Actually, I like the way yours looks better.
So that's about all I would really want to know.
Yeah.
And so now, what did you after booking?
So
They'll have all that.
So after a person books, they're automatically going to get an email that says, thanks, you'll receive the details shortly. That's all that they're going to get from you. If you
Right.
wanted to add anything else in, you could, like, if you want to tell them something like, my office is located here or something like that. I don't recommend that. One, if your office changes location, you got to remember to do it. But also, once you start doing that, like, the notifications just get weird and long, the way they look when you receive them. So the other thing that you look at is that notifications option. So right now, when a person books a message with you, they'll automatically get an email and you'll automatically get an email.
Okay.
Do you want it to automatically put the information or to automatically block out that time on your calendar as well? Or do you just want the email? So then click that plus option. Hold on 1 second. Let me look at this real quick so I can make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Oh no, that's all you have to do. It's automatically setting it up for you that way now.
Okay.
You used to have to build it like piece by piece, but I'm so glad they do that because that was so much work.
So if booking is rescheduled, reschedule email to booker, reschedule email to you.
So it's going to send you both an email to say this has been rescheduled.
All right. And then if it's canceled.
So right now, the way yours is set up is it's automatically going to cancel it out. And actually, let me book an appointment with you real quick so you can actually see what this is going to look like.
Ashley, you there?
I am. I'm just typing stuff in real quick.
Oh, okay. Give me just a second. I've got to plug my computer in.
Okay. While you're doing that, I just wanted to touch bases. Ms. Stallings, are you waiting with a question or? I think maybe she just didn't sign out. There we go.
All right, Miss Ashley, I'm back.
No worries. So I actually booked an appointment with you, and I saw on the screen where you're. Oh, that was adorable. I saw on your screen where the email notification came in. So, if you'll check your inbox, you see that top
Okay.
email. That's what it's going to look like. And so I booked that appointment automatically for you. And when you scroll down,
Not that one. Is it this one?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when you scroll down, what that form is really doing, you got to go all the way down. Is changing those bottom 3 links. And so right now,
Okay.
if you needed to cancel this with me, you'd click cancel, and it would clear the timeout on your calendar and mine.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and cancel, and I'll apologize now for canceling the meeting.
Gosh, you're such a bad teacher. You're never available to meet with me. And
I
yeah, you
tell
just
you.
cancel booking, and what it'll do is clear out the time on both our calendars.
All right.
And it'll send me a notice that says, hey, this appointment was actually canceled.
Awesome. So now I just need to go in and put it in. Now, if we put it in our master classes, when we copy, it'll copy over.
Yep, that was one of the reasons I did it. I was like, I will do this one time. I'm copying it forward. I'm not going back to do it ever again.
Yes. All right. Ooh, I don't know what that is, but thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I think it might have actually been me breathing into my mic. I'm sorry about that. I forgot I had this thing around my neck, so I just moved it forward. And
Oh, that's all right.
well, have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.